Hello, good day to all our viewers. We welcome you to another episode of the Peace Clinic. We are glad that we could have you join us on today's episode. Once again, I am Janet Michael, the Director of Media and Information, Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management, and I have here with me Ambassador Joshua Tahule, the Registrar from the Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management. You're welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, Janet. Good afternoon, our viewers. Thank you for joining us once again. We appreciate your time and sacrifice.
Thank you, Ambassador Joshua, for joining us. So once again, to our viewers, today we are looking at quite an interesting topic. But before we go into it, the Peace Clinic is brought to you by the Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management. And once again, we are glad you could join us. So kindly go down to the comment section and let us hear from you. Let us know where you're watching us from, and we would love to have you in this conversation. But today we'll be looking at quite an engaging and interesting topic. We'll be talking about media influence on conflict perception in Africa. So once again, we would love to have you in this conversation. So without doubt, media plays a significant role in shaping public perception of conflict, especially in Africa. The influence of media can have both positive and negative effects. That's looking at how it can impact conflict, and it has to do with how conflict is being understood, addressed, and also resolved. So today we'll be taking our time to look at the media, the concept of media, and how it influences conflict. So we will be looking at the concept of media. Without doubt, media plays a significant role, like I said, in shaping public perception. So we will be looking at what media is about, the types of media we have, the function, the role, and also the ethics of media. We'll be going forward to look at how media influences the perception of conflict, especially in the continent of Africa. We'll be looking at concrete examples of how these conflicts are being made, and the key roles of media, the key roles media plays in shaping this conflict, and how media can also be used as a tool for peace building. So once again, thank you for joining us, and you're welcome, Ambassador Joshua.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you, sir. So once again, talking about the concept of media, we're talking about when it comes to media, we're talking about the various channels and platforms through which information, news, entertainment, and even communication are disseminated to a wide range of audience. And in our current age and time, media is something that is common. If you look at, every single individual has the internet at hand on our smartphone, and media is a tool. Now we need to understand how much this media, these devices we have in our hands, how much they can influence conflict, either positively or negatively. So we would love to hear from you, Ambassador Joshua, what you think about media and also its influence on conflict.
Thank you very much, Janet. Uh, the role of the media in our society cannot be overemphasized. The fact is that the media is a life wire of every society. Even in the traditional African societies, the media has always played a major role in communicating, informing, educating, and passing messages across. In our traditional African societies, where we do not have instruments like the televisions, the radio, the community people always deploy other measures to communicate to their people, either drums or tongue criers. They go out and communicate these messages. Sometimes in our traditional societies, you see the traditional rulers, they have their messengers that they use to pass message within the community or within their kingdom. Do you understand? And message, once it's sent, message can be distorted. Message can, you know, once the message is released, it can be distorted. And there are several factors that can distort the message that has been released. And so when the media pass information and knowledge, either the knowledge is received as being passed or is being misunderstood. The role of the media, like we say, it's very, very important and vital, and the influence of the media in our society can be positive and negative. Okay, take for instance now, in a traditional society, for instance now, if the traditional ruler in the particular kingdom says to his messenger, go and gather all the villagers to come to my house, okay, by maybe 2 a.m., all right, but maybe he will go and say the if he says the traditional ruler say they should gather by 2 p.m., it will give a different perspective. Do you understand? Or he may not give time. He just say that the traditional ruler say everybody should gather to his house. People will start coming in the morning. Some will come and wait until the time the man say he wants to talk to them that he will come out. And so some may wait and got tired and disappear. But you see, it's because the communication was not done properly. Okay, so sometimes the message have different intent, and we receive the message differently. So, but in one way or the other, how we communicate and pass the message matters, and that is what the media needs to, understand and make sure that their ethic standards are maintained. So, but by and large, like we say, the role of the media and the influence of the media on the perception of conflicts in Africa can be positive and it can be negative. Do you understand? We have several instances where the experience has not been so positive. But maybe as we go into the discussions, we will look at those areas that the media did not get it right.
Thank you, Ambassador Joshua Tabule, for that. So we will be, once again to our audience, we would love to have you in this conversation. This is actually an interesting discourse. We would love to know from you how you think the media has influenced the perception of conflict, even in your location, your country, and also in Africa as a continent. So right away, we'll be looking at the types of media we have, just for us to have a broader understanding of what we are talking about. We have the traditional media, which most of us are kind of familiar with. These include, the newspapers, the magazines, talking about the print media. We have the broadcast media, which is television, the radio, and also the cinema. Traditional media has long been the primary sources of news and information dissemination. Ambassador Joshua mentioned, a few, the town crier, back in the days where there was no, advanced means of communication. We had that as a medium of communication. Coming down to our present time, we have the digital media, and this includes online platforms, talking about the social media, the blogs, the podcasts, the streaming devices. Digital media has transformed the landscape of communication and has enabled instantaneous global connectivity. Just like the common saying that the world has, with the use of media, digital media, the world has now become a global village. So we'll be looking at how this media, either the traditional or the digital media, has impacted conflict perception, especially in Africa. Moving on, we'll be looking at the functions of media. The first we have here is information. Ambassador Joshua has mentioned that one of the key functions of media is information. There is need for proper information to be disseminated. So media outlets provide news, information, and analysis on a wide range of topics, keeping the public informed about current events and issues. You all agree with me that as humans, we are limited in terms of we can only be at a given place, in a place at a given time. So we might not know what might be happening somewhere else when we are not presently there. So the media comes into the picture to help us understand what is happening around us, even though we are not present at that given place. We also have educating. The media can educate and raise awareness about important social, political, cultural, and scientific topics. Say, for example, the Peace Clinic we are hosting right away. It's a medium to educate the general public on issues concerning how the media influences conflict. We have entertainment, we have advocacy, and we have socialization. So these are key functions the media plays when it comes to to us as a people. So Ambassador Joshua, what can you tell us about this function of the media?
Yes, thank you very much, Janet. The functions of the media, as you have outlined them, they are out there to, help the general public to be carried along on the happenings in our society, whether it's on the information side, whether it's on the education, whether it's on the entertainment, or for the advocacy or socialization, whichever form that the media have choose to communicate with us, and whatever message they have to pass out per time, either they create platforms to educate people or just for socialization or for entertainment, because they play all of these functions. All right, everything that happens in America of recent, that is the shooting of the former vice president, where he was being a target in the shootout, we got to know through the media. If the media wasn't there, we wouldn't have known. Maybe by now, we would have been in dark completely. Maybe only those that are in America and we are the venue of the rally that may know what happened. But for us here, we wouldn't have known if the media is not there. So the media and the digital media has, been keeping us informed. We have been carried away. We know the policies of government. We know what the government is doing per time. We know what other institutions are doing per time based on the functions that the media is playing. And we're talking about the digital media. It may not be also so to say that only those that are professionally trained to communicate as journalists or broadcasters that also use the instrument of the media. No, every other person is using the instrument. We are also using digital media here now. Other institutions are also using, individuals who are not even trained in these areas are also using this medium to communicate to people. So in whatever way we are able to pass the message, it could be corporate institutions who are called the media houses, or individuals or institutions bringing programs to communicate and educate the people. We are all playing the functions of the media, and how we communicate the message and how the people receive the message and the intent of the message matters a lot. So by and large, these are the basic functions of the media, and they play them out in the positive and sometimes in the negative. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Joshua Tahule. Without doubt, the function of the media in our society cannot be overestimated. And also, the media plays a significant role to us as a people and also in the society at large. And we will be looking at the roles the media plays, the key roles media play. First, the media serves as a watchdog by holding governments, businesses, and other powerful entities accountable for their action and decision. We have seen in society in situations whereby, and there's also a popular saying that the internet never forgets. Regardless of who you are, when you actually make a promise and you forget it as a person, the media doesn't forget. And so the media serves as a watchdog, to hold people, to hold governments, businesses accountable for their action and also their inaction months ago, there was actually a celebrity who promised something, and then I guess he forgot about it. But someone came after like a few months, I think between 5 to 6 months, and reminded him and said, "Oh, this was what you said on so and so dates, and you have to keep to it because you made a promise online in the social media, and so we are reminding you to keep to your promise." So that's one of the role of the media, to serve as a watchdog and also to serve as a reminder, to hold individuals and government accountable. The media also serves as a public forum, provides a platform for debate, discussion, and also the exchange of diverse viewpoints. Using the example of the peace clinic we are having, it's a medium whereby we get to listen from people, we get to discuss on a particular topic, and other people come on board to share their viewpoints concerning that. We also have the cultural preservation. Media helps to preserve and promote cultural heritage. We have instruments like music, we have films, we have literature, and other forms of artistic expression. The media can also serve as a bridge divide for fostering understanding, dialogue, and empathy across different communities and culture. So the role of the media in our society cannot be overestimated. Media serves as a watchdog, it serves as a platform where ideas can be shared. It also serves as a tool for cultural preservation and also as a bridge builder for society. So before we move forward to look at media ethics, Ambassador Joshua, we'd love to hear from you concerning the role the media plays in the society.
Janet, one of the very important role the media plays in the society is that of being a watchdog. Do you understand? Being a watchdog. I remember, just like you have said, there was somebody who, lost an opportunity. He was appointed by the current governor of Benue State to be screened as the special assistant, also advisor, or one of those things. And then when he went in for the screening at the Benue State House of Assembly, one of the assembly members just pointed at one of the messages he posted on his social media handle sometime in the past, insulting one of the tribes in Benue. And at the end of the day, he was denied the opportunity. He was not screened. His candidature was refused, and he has to go back. So because of what he said, most of the times when we go for job interviews nowadays, our social medias are being checked. Do you understand? They want to know what you have been saying, what you have been doing. That's why many organizations ask for your social media handles. They want to know your activities. They want to know your past. They want to know what you have been saying, so that they will not come and hire a violent person in their organization. Do you understand? So being a watchdog is very, very critical. And media also, they carry out what we call investigative journalism. Okay, of recent, we have the case of certificate forgery. Okay, and it was a work done by a journalist that we were able to review the issue of certificate forgery and things like that. So journalism, or one of the role of the media, is to serve as a watchdog. And sometimes government also, the media also reveal some of the secret happenings in government based on their investigative activities. The recent there's something that happened. The former governor of Kogi State, he was invited to the EFCC, and one of the reasons why he refused to go was that the EFCC have hired a media personnel that wanted to embarrass him by asking him several questions, so he will not come. That he has learned that there is a media personnel that is waiting to interview him and then expose him and then maybe embarrass him in the public. So as a result, he is not coming. I get a point now. So he refused to come. So these are some of the things. So, but the media, one of the role of the media is to serve as a watchdog. Apart from the fact that we have opportunities whereby the media houses invite you to come and share your knowledge and perspectives on certain happenings in our society. Are you getting a point now? Or where politicians come and share their political manifestos and agendas that are coming into the race to participate in the political activity. So, and some of these things happening. Also, these are the functions or the role that the media is playing, and they're very, very important. And like the Peace Clinic, for instance, now we're also using this medium to also reach out to people, educate the general public, and so that they will know what is happening in the aspect of peace and how they can use certain things to promote peace in our community. So it is a very, very vital role that the media is playing.
Thank you, Ambassador Joshua. Now we proceed to look at media ethics. Media organizations are actually expected, to adhere to ethical standards such as accuracy, fairness, transparency, and independence in their reporting. It's actually very important, for these ethical standards to be adhered to, especially when it comes to the practice of journalism. We must help to ensure that the media influence on conflict perception in Africa is profound, and also that the information that is being disseminated is accurate and it can be depended upon. We live in a society whereby people go online, go to social media space, and just get an information and they start sending it abroad. It's actually necessary that that information that is being sent across to others are actually verified, to be accurate, to be fair, and also to be transparent. And that is one of the, media ethics that we need to adhere to, especially when it comes to journalism. Journalists would have to make sure that the information that they are passing across is actually true and accurate. So moving forward, we'll also be looking
And
at
Janet, before you move forward, we're talking about the ethics. This is a very important aspect of the media, and this is where the problem lies. I get a point now. We are talking about the ethics. One of the ethics, they talk about accuracy. The other one is what? Independence. And the other one is what? I think there are three that we're talking about. What?
transparency.
And transparency. Transparency. And this is where the problem lies. Do you understand? This is actually where the problem is. The accuracy of the reportage is also a problem. We have heard, of recent, even of recent, there's one of the newspapers, okay, some of these print medias now that have to apologize on some of the report that they did. Do you understand? Concerning certain things. So we have had several of these instances whereby even channels television arise. So many of them have come out to apologize for misinformation, for inaccuracy of the information they have disseminated. Do you understand? They have been, so this has been the problem. The ethics have not been adhered to. Media houses has been, has been, some of them several times the Nigeria, the regulatory bodies have threatened to withdraw their license, and because of misinformation or the level of reportage and the biasness in their reporting and so many other factors. Do you understand? But at the same time, the institution that also have the regulatory bodies, that's, I'm talking about the government, that has the regulatory body that regulates some of the institutions, time ignore the institution, the media institution owned by the government. Because even the media institution owned by the government most of the time don't respect this ethics that we're talking about here. Transparency is not there. Accuracy is also not there. And apart from that, do you understand? Apart from that, the independent is not there. Sometimes the media houses that are owned by the government, sometimes, okay, they carry out messages or activities that protect and project the image of the ruling party. Do you understand? And most of the times, maybe in the electionary campaign, for instance, sometimes government, the political parties that are in government, or political party that is in government, is the one that most of the activities are being televised against the other parties that are into the rest. I get a point now. We have this thing. So where is the independence of the media? And so in most cases now, some of the media houses that are owned by certain individuals, those individuals want to see that their media house project just what they have. But for instance, the last election, if you look at what the TVC was doing, they were projecting the activities of one of the parties more than the others. Do you understand? Because it has been, informed or revealed that the media house is owned by that person. Do you understand? So these are the issues that we are talking about here. So where is the accuracy? Where is the transparency? And where is the independence of the media? So this has been the problem. And this is why their influences on conflict perception in Africa has been, problematic, because of the way they report, because of the way the biasness in even their reporting, because some of them have interest. Do you understand? Some of them practically have interest. So they are not neutral in their reportage. They don't balance their reporting action. So it causes conflict. It influences violence. Do you understand? We have instances. And then we talk about individual bloggers. They carry messages that they don't know the source. They don't even know the authenticity of the information they want to disseminate, and then they share it. Do you understand? Some have been arrested severally and detained because of sharing information that they know nothing about. During the COVID-19, what happened? People were using salt to bath with it. That they say if you bath with salt and all of that, and then COVID-19 will not touch you. Some bath with salt and died. Do you understand? Hot water. Do you understand? So these are the information, misinformation. Misinformation has been the order of the day. So where is the accuracy? Where is the accuracy? And it's one of the ethics. And you cannot practice a profession without adhering to the ethics of that profession. Do you understand? So even the core media houses have been victim of what we are talking about here. Let alone the individuals who are not trained as professional journalism or broadcasters. What do you expect they should do? It is the worst. Do you understand? And I think that's the reason why even the government, people are even, some government individuals or officials are clamoring for the, regulation of the social media. Do you understand? So it is an issue. The ethics standard of every profession must be adhered to. And if you cannot adhere to that profession, but most of the times, let me give you the reason why sometimes some of these media houses behave the way they behave. Okay, for instance, now the government institution or the government media, for instance, now, if there is a conflict, maybe let's say in the North Central, and then maybe involving different tribes or different ethnic groups, do you understand? And then maybe they kill like maybe 1,000 people. Maybe the government media will go and say maybe 100 people died. Do you understand? Now the question now is, where is the accuracy? Where is the transparency? Because they told you that 1,000 people were killed. You underreported, right? Why are you underreporting? Now they'll give a reason why they're underreporting, because for them they feel that they use that to, stop the spread of the violence. Because if they know that one tribe or another tribe was killed, a number of people like this were killed, it will, it will, aggravate the kind of anger in the other tribe to also continue to attack, to make sure that they revenge and kill people in the number for which their people have been killed. But if you cannot mention the number, it's better you should stand in a neutral pattern and report that, and there were several victims. Instead of mentioning number, you can just say that there were several victims in the crisis. I get a point now. Instead of calling the number, but to lie and say that when 1,000 die and you say that only 100 people were killed, then the accuracy is not there. Do you understand? So this has been the issue that we have been having. Government media always cover, because they knew that if they report certain things, they are discrediting the government, and the government may not take it. Do you understand? So these are the issue, and then some of them work to protect their jobs. So the ethics of the profession, if it cannot be adhered to, then that the people in that profession should not practice it. And I think this is the reason why many a times you see them apologizing, because they have gone wrong. They have gone outside of their ethics, and they have to apologize. And this is what we have been seeing. So the ethics of the profession is very important. And so if you must practice journalism, or you must use the media tools, any of these that we have mentioned, to carry out, to pass out information, then be willing to adhere to the ethics of the profession, accuracy, transparency, and the independence of the media. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Joshua Tahule, for that. You have mentioned quite a lot, and it is actually necessary for media houses, like you mentioned, and also individuals. You mentioned individual bloggers, and that's actually caught my attention because when you're talking about media ethics, people think that we're just talking about the professionals. Although yes, the professionals. Are the main targets, but even the individuals, people that go, to spread false information, misinformation, and it has actually been an issue, especially in the social media, because people are majorly concerned about, viewership in quotes, trying to get people's attention. You see people, especially bloggers, struggling to to get people to view their post, and because of that, they can go at any length to spray misinformation or information they are not accurate, just to get people's attention. And those are one of the negative influences of media. You also talked about bias. That is also another key point. People are biased. You made an example of the 2022 general election, where a particular party, it was like, okay, the particular party was at the forefront of everything, while other parties were being, overlooked or neglected. And we can also see situations whereby a conflict is happening, or a situation, and the media is only giving one perception, trying to paint one picture without creating a balance, making sure that everything and every details concerning that situation or conflict is being presented. So there's actually a need to take this into consideration, because the media is a major tool in shaping people's perception, and when that perception is not being shaped properly, it can lead to conflict and also chaos. So moving forward, we'll also be talking about media literacy, which refers to the ability to critically analyze and evaluate media messages. And I think that is what most people lack, the ability to look at a particular information and see that, oh, this information is questionable. There's need to do proper research about this to verify if it is true or not before circulating it. We have the issue of fake news, going around in our society, and fake news, the repercussion is crisis at the end of the day, social unrest, because most times these fake news are not good news, they're actually bad news. So there's actually need for people, to have the ability to critically analyze information that come across them. It's not any information that goes out into the social media or into the internet that is true and should be taken the way it is. So it's actually important to understand media influences and also to navigate the complex media landscape. The media is complex. Talking about the social media, it's a whole different, it's a different world entirely, and people go into the social media day in, day out, minutes, hours, and a lot is happening in the social space. So there's need for people to be literate enough to consider any message they come across, and also to verify if it is true or false. So over to you, Ambassador Joshua, on the need for media literacy.
Thank you very much, Janet. We are in a very difficult society, and people think differently, and they believe things differently. Do you understand? They believe things that they shouldn't have in the first place, even listen to, instead of believing it. Do you understand? But they went ahead and listened to it, believe it, consume it, and act upon. Do you understand? They act upon. Assuming, for instance, now I'll come here and say, oh, tomorrow there's going to be a mass protest. Okay, there's going to be a mass protest. Okay, according to, there's one post that was going around in our group. Somebody said that there was going to be a 10 days protest. You understand? And then people were questioning the authenticity of that message. Do you understand? Because people were questioning the authenticity of that message. So, and that is what we should all do. When you receive an information, question the information you have received. What is the source of this information? How authentic is this information? Before you begin to spread false information, false news, fake news. Do you understand? So because I'm telling you, the issue of COVID-19, when I came back from the university, my mom told me that I should use salt. You understand? And bath with it and hot water, so that COVID-19 will not reach. I said, Mommy, who told you that? That is in the village. Me, I was in Meduguri, she was in the village. And use salt and hot water, warm water to bath with it. So you can see that is the problem. So information spread at a very rapid speed, okay? And then the problem is that people consume the information without questioning the source of the information they are consuming. How can I give you food you are eating and you're not questioning the source of the food you are eating? It doesn't matter whether the food was from the shrine, you don't care, you eat. So far as it's food you eat. You understand? Question the information you are consuming. Where is this information coming from? Someone will say there's a public holiday, meanwhile there's none. So you ask, where did you get this information? Someone say, oh, this particular person stole so amount of money. Do you know how did he get to know the information? Is the information coming from the EFCC, or is it coming from the ICPC? Is it coming from a credible media house that have carried out investigation to find out such kind of report? No. Sometimes it's just by hearsay, sometimes just by assumption. So we need to have media literacy, the ability to question the information that you are consuming. And because of our inability to question the information we consume, that's why most of the time we are having conflict. A politician will come and tell you that, oh, you see, this election is about religion, Christian versus Muslim. How? Do you understand? How? Nobody question how. Nobody asks questions. They just take it. Yes, it's true. It's against our So they begin to react based on that. Somebody will come and tell you that this election is about ethnic division. So our people should vote us. Let their people also vote them. Do you understand? So they create all forms of division, and our inability to question the authenticity and the reality of what the person is saying, we just follow blindly. And then it's like a blind man leading the blind. So we just follow like that and go. So this has been a challenge. So every one of us who in one way or the other, whether in a language, if you don't understand English, ask someone who understands English and also understand your language to explain to you better before you begin to follow information blindly and act on them blindly. So media literacy is a need for everyone. Every average Nigerian, average person in our society needs to have some level of understanding and ability to question the information they are receiving and they are consuming per time. Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua, for that. And just to add to this, the media literary skills is actually essential, for individual to make informed decision, just like you have said, and also resist manipulation. Most times, these informations that are being sent are actually sent, to manipulate people, to make them take certain actions or certain inaction. So it's actually important that individuals know how to meaningfully engage media content. It's not every content you see out there that is correct or that is true. So it's actually important for you to engage them meaningfully and also to make informed decision after verifying that that particular content is actually true and is something you can run with. So moving forward, we will be looking at we'll be looking at in what ways the media influences perception on conflict in Africa. Before we proceed to our audience, once again, we appreciate you for joining us. Do well to reach out to the comment section, and we would love to know what you think about how media influences the perception of conflict. So the first we have here is agenda setting. The media has the power to set the agenda by deciding which conflicts and events to cover and how to frame them. This can influence public perception by highlighting certain aspects of a conflict while downplaying the others. And Ambassador Joshua, we have seen this over the years. We actually made mention of this earlier, where the media houses chooses the particular, events to cover in a situation whereby there's always two sides of a coin, but they choose to, just project one side of the coin, and this can be tied to bias. And this is actually done in order to shape public perception concerning the issue at ground. Instead of people to be aware of, the exact, situation of things, people are just having one-sided view, and sometimes people take that one-sided view to run with and to make decision based on that without verifying or getting to know that there's another side of the coin. So we would love you to shed more light on the agenda setting when it comes to media influences and perception on conflict.
All right, thank you very much. Like we said before, like the I don't know how they call it, but is it the journalist corner or whatever in the TVC? The kind of things they were saying in that place was practically against other candidates that were contesting the election. It's good for you to carry out the analysis of all the candidates, okay? But for you to be so biased and so, one-sided in your analysis, then it's against the ethics of journalism. As a journalist, you are not, if you are to analyze and evaluate all the contestants in the election, you should not be biased. Do you understand? You should evaluate them on a neutral ground. What is your interest? But this particular media house, they were engaged in that kind of, belittling other political candidates and, bad mouthing and saying all manner of things. Do you understand? So it was against the ethics of the profession. And in fact, other political parties were not covered. The activities of other political parties were not duly covered as they should. They were just focusing on one political party and the activities of one particular politician. And then they were using it. So it's so the agenda setting that's where the problem started. They sat and decided which of the candidates they are going to cover and which of the political parties they are going to cover. And then these things, so they can say a lot of things that may create tension. Do you understand? And if sometimes whenever this program was going on, you see some people who come to the comment section and be abusing and then be insulting and saying a lot of things in a violent manner. Do you understand? So, and this is where the issue is. So as a journalist or as a media personnel, what you need to do is to adhere to the ethics of the profession. And apart from that, when you are setting an agenda, whatever agenda you are setting must be balanced. It must be balanced. Do you understand? So that you not downplay others. Once that is done, automatically it creates a problem. It pitch you against the others, and this can lead to conflict.
Interesting. So the next we have here is stereotyping and bias. Media coverage can lead to stereotyping of certain groups involved in conflicts, which can perpetuate negative perception and exacerbate tension. Biases in reporting can also influence how conflicts are understood by the audience. So, Ambassador Joshua, the issue of stereotyping and bias has actually done us, so much harm, especially when it comes to media coverage. Reinforcing stereotypes, even about Africa. We have situations whereby, the international perception of Africa is totally different, and most times this is because of the type of, coverage or the level of bias we see in our media houses. We see that most times, bad news, issues about conflict is being projected. If you ask, an average white man to tell you about, a country in Africa, most of the things he will say is, oh, Africa is a place of conflict, is a place of tension, people are killing themselves and the likes of them. Most times this is because of the stereotyping. This is because of the type of news or the type of information that goes into our media. Just like I said earlier, the world is actually a global village. Most times the things that are being projected, people all over the world are seeing. And when there's bias and stereotyping, when there's no balance concerning the type of content that goes out, concerning us as a people, as a nation, and even concerning Africa, people tend to have, the wrong mindset about who we are as a people. And I think this is one negative influence of how media influences conflict in Africa.
Janet, you are right, because the issue of stereotyping is a very serious matter and bias in the reportage. And most of the times, people, most especially the individual bloggers that we have nowadays, is a problem. This has considered a lot of problem actually, because people go out there and then they look at the person and say, oh, this person is not from us, ethnic, sectionalism, oh, it's not from our side, so we should not vote him, oh, he's not a believer, oh, he's not our follower, so he should not be considered, should not be supported. Do you understand? And then election, and during the election, they will experience the worst of this, because we see where they are stereotyping here and there. People, someone even on media houses, they come to media houses and say some of the things, and the media houses cannot stop them from saying it. They say it on television, they say it on the radio. Do you understand? They say it practically without mimicking words. Do you understand? Some people sat on the television, they sat on the radio stations and say that certain tribes should not be voted into powers. Certain people should not be considered in this election. Certain people should not come out and vote. And they say this thing on the media, in a media house, and they will not stop. Do you understand? They say it and they went away with it. So what are we saying here? You stereotype and then you create division, you create hatred and enmity among tribes, among groups, and things like that. So the media is in a position to be able to promote, an environment that is, conducive for everybody, not just for the people that are in government or those that are in power or those that are considered to be powerful people in our society. So once that happens, what do you expect? Violence. And that's why our elections are always characterized with violence. During and the post-violence are always there, because of the way the media and the manner the media is reporting activities of the elections. So stereotyping and bias is also one of the problems we face in our media space.
And Ambassador Joshua, it's actually interesting to know that even, within us as a people, talking about Nigeria as a nation, the issue of stereotyping and bias is actually a serious issue. An average man from the south, who has never been to the north, thinks every northern or every Hausa man is a Boko Haram. Or any person that stays in the north is actually somebody that is prone to violence, and this is as a result of stereotyping. Sometimes, and the media, takes news and then make it seem like everybody from a particular region is actually responsible for that situation or that conflict. And also in the north, an average man in the north, an Hausa man, thinks an Igbo man is somebody that likes money too much and can fraud anybody or go at any length to make sure he gets, the money he wants. And that's as a result of stereotyping. And I think it's something that, if it is not made worse, can lead to serious conflict or serious crisis. So next, we'll be looking at the role of social media. With the rise of social media, individuals have access to information and can participate in shaping the narrative around conflict. social media platform can be used to spray information and propaganda, further influencing perception and conflict. Just like we mentioned earlier, social media, almost everybody has access to social media, even a child in primary school. Back in the days in secondary school, you're not even thinking of having a phone. But right now, even a child in primary school has access to a phone, has access to social media. And because of that, there's likely a spray of misinformation and propaganda, and also this can influence perception. You can be, in the comfort of your house, and somebody online is sending a message that can influence your opinion, that can make you think differently, or make you have a different perception of a particular event or situation. We also have humanizing or dehumanizing. Media coverage can humanize or dehumanize those involved in conflict. Depictions of victims and perpetrators can shape how audience sympathizes with different groups and influence perception of who is at fault. So most times this also can be linked to bias, trying to project a particular group, and trying to downplay a particular group, making people feel like, oh, this group is at fault. People choosing side. As we proceed, we are going to be looking at concrete examples of how this has actually played out in nations around Africa. So before we proceed, we would love to hear from you, Ambassador Joshua, as a summarize on the media's influences on perception in Africa.
Thank you very much, Janet. We're talking about humanizing and dehumanizing. Look at the conflict, the kind of reports Al Jazeera is giving between the conflicts, giving on the conflict between Israel and Palestine or Hamas. It's they sometimes you wonder what they're actually intending to achieve with the way they report. So that you make the other tribe look so bad in the eyes of the other. Okay, that's what we are talking about here. You are picking up a victim, okay, depicting victims, and then making them to appear as if they are a bad people, but you are not looking at the bad that has been done to them. Do you understand? So it doesn't matter the volume of the badness of what has happened, but what about the other one that was bad, but maybe at the level, the lower level, not at the magnitude that is worth your attention. But the bad is bad, wrong is wrong. Do you understand? So if you can say that, okay, Israel has killed 36,000 people, and this against 1,200 people that were killed, then are we trying to justify the 1,200 that were killed? Do you understand? So these are the issue. And either are we justifying the 36,000 people that were killed? So the media is actually in the position sometimes of humanizing and then dehumanizing. That is, depicting victims and then making people to feel that they are the worst persons, or this group is the worst group, or this person is a very bad person. Things like that are happening. They happen. The media makes you feel like that. Okay, let me tell you, for instance, now the way Al Jazeera does report, it shows that maybe the conflict between the Hamas and Israel is actually a conflict between the Muslims and the Christians, because they feel that America and other European countries supporting Israel, and then you see other Muslim countries also supporting Palestine and the Hamas and all of that. So it creates that kind of division and make certain groups look so bad and make certain people look so bad and things like that. So if we must report, we must balance our reportage. We must balance the kind of information we are giving out. Okay, but no, the reason why most media houses report like this is because of the views they are looking at. They want many people to view them. They want many people to listen to their video. Then they want to influence war. Okay, influence war, because this kind of reportage, you can see it influences activities that happen even at the international community, at the national levels. You understand? So these things are going on. So if you send people in the field to cover news, then if they send news to you, try to examine that, and then, like the issue of agenda we're talking about, set an agenda that balances the news, so that when the news is read out, it will not influence people negatively. Thank you.
Interesting. Thank you, Ambassador Joshua. You spoke about international influence, and in no doubt we have seen how much in the international space, the international media houses have actually narrated situations of conflict, just like you gave, for example, the ongoing conflict between Israel and Palestine. Sometimes these global media outlets and international organizations also play a role in shaping how conflicts are being perceived around the world. Their coverage can, impact foreign policies decision and also humanitarian intervention. We also have government influence, especially for us in our country, Nigeria. We can see situations whereby governments may seek to control or manipulate media coverage to suit their own ambition or their own interest. And this can also lead to biased reporting, or it can also negatively influence public perception. So as we proceed, we'll be looking down to the comment section to see what our viewers have to say. We have a comment here from Mr. Muta Daniel, and he says the media plays a significant role in shaping public perception of conflict in Nigeria and Africa. This influence can be both positive and negative, depending on how conflicts are reported and the type of narratives that are promoted. Thank you, Mr. Muta Daniel, for that contribution. We will be taking a question from one of the viewers. Mr. Onyekan. He says, my question is, why is it that some media personnel dodge certain information given to them to investigate when it involves the government, when journalists attach themselves gaining from government secretly? Honestly speaking, their work will be questioned. We CSOs are giving them what is happening in the government, but they would not like to bring them to book. Ambassador Joshua, how would you react to this?
Yes, the role of journalists or journalism, whether investigative journalism, is not to bring anybody to book. They don't have the power to, discipline anybody. The only thing they can do is to expose certain things, okay? Expose certain things, and maybe also whatever they have find out in their investigation, they can hand it over to the appropriate authorities, like if it concerns bribery and corruption, we have the ICPC. They are there. They will hand it over to them. If it's about embezzlement, you have the EFCC there. The EFCC are the ones to bring such perpetrators to book, but the media may not be in a position to do that. And most of the time, some of this, the reason why maybe they are avoiding government officials or government activities is because of the nature which government exert influences in our country. Do you understand? Sometimes if you carry out an activity that involve government officials, some of them have friends, some of them maybe because of their relations or because of their importance in that particular government, they will decide to use their colleagues who are in charge of other ministries or in charge of other agencies that regulate some of these media houses, and begin to come after such media house and threaten them of withdrawing their license and bring all manner of these accusations. So it can be possible that they may be afraid to go after such government officials based on the environment where we find ourselves. Okay, the environment where we find ourselves, but it's not supposed to be like that. The role of the media is to uncover what is hidden. Okay, if you uncover and you release the information, then the public will understand. At the same time, maybe give to the security agencies to also, carry out the execution based on what you have. Your investigation will serve as a foundation for the security agencies to also, rely on it and carry out further investigation to, come to terms with the reality of what you have submitted. Do you understand? So, but sometimes, some of this information we give to the media houses for them to investigate. Sometimes investigation is very challenging. Sometimes you go to somebody's office, you want to go and interview the person, they will not want to give you such information. And you understand when an information classified as confidential is being leaked. And if someone is being discovered that you are the one that leaked the information, they may sack you. Do you understand? So it has different issues. But as a journalist, and most especially investigative journalist, you should find a way of, maneuvering over these challenges and then getting the result that you want to get. Sometimes you cannot get the full details, but you can get a hint that can give to the security authorities to go after and then carry out, because them they are security. They can go out whatever document they ask for, they will give them. But as a media house, they may not be able to give you some of these documents if you go to ask for it. Do you understand? So these are some of the issues. So there are challenges, most especially in our environment here. We have people just misbehave. We have government officials behave as if they are demigods and things like that. So it may be very, very challenging for the media to operate. Sometimes, even if they are afraid, we understand. Sometimes their lives are being threatened. Do you understand? Because they want to carry out an investigation on a particular case. And that case involves a very powerful person that is in government. So what do you expect them to do? They should go and die. Who doesn't want his life? Do you understand? But if in a situation whereby in other crime whereby the rule of law is well respected, and whereby the security architecture is functioning very properly, then one may not be afraid to do his work. That's why you see journalism in other places is very easy, because people are not afraid to do their work, because all the various institutions know their role and what they need to do. And when a case is reported, whether it's even the president, they investigate the president. Do you understand? So in that kind of situation, you will be free to operate. But here, they say there's a case against Tinubu. Will you go after Tinubu to investigate Tinubu? You want to go and hold meeting with Tinubu and ask him question? Will he give you the attention? So sometimes these media houses may be limited based on the nature of the environment where we are operating. Do you understand? These are the challenges that they may confront them. But by and large, they are to uncover, but they are not to prosecute or bring anybody to book. Their own is just to uncover what has transpired in the secret and then bring it to limelight so that other people can know, and then either hand it over to the security, and then the security takes it over from there and then bring the perpetrator to book. Do you understand? That's how it works. But the media has no power to bring anybody to book, has no power to bring anybody to prosecution. But you can facilitate an investigation that can uncover a secret, and then you give to the police or to the DSS, or you can give it to the EFCC, ICPC, depending on the nature of the case. Do you understand? And then they take it over and then follow it up and make sure that justice or the person is brought to book. So this is how it works. But there are limitations to which they can go, and most especially when it involves government officials in our environment where the rule of law, respect to the rule of law is questionable. You understand? This is where the problem is. But in other places where the rule of law is respected, whereby the government officials are looking at space among equals, do you understand? In such environment, it's very easy to operate. And where the laws, the institutions that are responsible for these things are functioning very well, then it's very easy to work. You go and do your work, you submit, you go your own way. If they go and find out that it's not true, maybe the person may decide to file a case against you for defamation of character or whatever. In that case, you go and pay, or whatever, how you have resolved it, you can resolve it. But the situation whereby you go after a particular case and then they are coming after your life, what will you do? You see how other people treating people publicly. sit in a media house and are threatening certain media personnel. Do you understand? How many times this guy at Arise has been attacked severally? Even even in their studio, here somebody will be talking to a media person because he asked the person a particular question, and then they will be attacking his personality. Do you understand? So we have been seeing these things. Even right in their media house, to somebody who feel that is so powerful, is so important in the society. So why would he be asking such questions? Is it not the Yahya Bello that said that he used to go to the AFCs, that the AFCs hired journalists to come and expose him and insulted him? You understand? So these are some of the things. So these are some of the things that some of these media personnel face. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Joshua, for that beautiful response. And thank you, Mr. Onyekan, for your question and also your contribution. So moving forward, we'll be looking at concrete examples of how the media influence has played a role in shaping perception of conflict in Africa. And the first we have here is the Rwanda genocide, the 1994 genocide. The role of the media, without doubt, both the local and the international, was actually, crucial in the way the Rwanda genocide actually turned out at the end of the day. Some people believe, Ambassador Joshua, that some local media were actually responsible for inciting the violence, while others also claim that even the international media also impacted the genocide in a small way, and due to that international media coverage, there was, delayed and also inadequate response. The response from the international space was slow because the international media did not do justice that was happening. So, as Ambassador Joshua, what can you say about the Rwanda genocide and how much the media influenced how it turned out?
Chene, thank you very much. The issue of the genocide in Rwanda was majorly contributed from within. That is from within. That is from within the country. Do you understand? The influence the media had on the conflict or on the genocide there was from within. The media houses or the media from within, and the radio station and the television calls radio, television, Riba, this Mie Collins. It was one of the most influenced radio stations in the country, and it was owned by the Hutus. Do you understand? It was owned by the Hutus. The Hutus are the majority tribe in Rwanda. Do you understand? Against the Tutsi. And what happened? These people spread what? Hate speech against the Tutsis. That's the Hutus used this television station. They were spreading, hate speech against the other tribe. It was an ethnic cleansing agenda. Do you understand? That the Hutus carry out against the Tutsis. And they were using this radio station to spread hate speech. You understand? They were using this particular radio station to encourage violence. That's guest speakers that were invited to come and speak in this radio station at that time. They were using that channel to encourage their people to go and carry arms to go against the Tutsis. This particular radio station was providing information of locations where the Tutsis were hiding. Location, address, name of the individuals that they were targeting. They coordinated attacks. They create fear and panic by sharing propagandas. Do you understand? So it was a very terrible situation. A radio station owned by a particular majority tribes in the country was using it to promote hate speech. And that's what I was giving an example here. Because a particular contestant in election owns a television station, and then they are using that to attack other politicians, attack other candidates, and belittle them, discredit them. You understand? And such television stations, we invited individuals that come and sat on it and say publicly that a certain group of people should not be voted into power. Or some of them even go and carry such news and report it in their own station. What? Why should you report such kind of news in the first place? That somebody say a certain tribe should not come out and vote, and then you carry that news and report it in your own station. Why should you report it that way? What do you expect the older people that this thing is targeted against to say? Do you understand? So the television in Rwanda at that time, owned by the Hutus, was carried out intentionally to influence the conflict and the genocide that took place in Rwanda. It was an internal problem. Majorly, it was an internal problem. And a radio station within the country was used for that. And it was an agenda for ethnic cleansing. And they used the tools of the media to influence it, to educate their people how to even carry, that's encouraging their people to carry arms publicly on televisions. And then what happened? It was a massive ethnic cleansing, genocide, killing that is of the highest we have never seen in history. So this is what happened. So this particular radio station carry out these activities, and this is what we are talking about here. Do you understand? The media influence, the agenda was clearly to pitch against the other ethnic group. Their messages were just against the other group. Hate speech was carried out on this radio station, openly. There was nothing like they're hiding their intention. No, it was an open, clear language hate speech discussion that was going on there. Guests that were invited were also carrying out hate speech in the radio station, and nobody stops. And they use it to execute whatever plan they had.
That is actually quite unfortunate that media, that level of influence could actually be perpetrated by a media house. So moving forward, we are looking at the Boko Haram insurgency in Nigeria. The media coverage of the Boko Haram insurgency, has often focused on the group's violent attack and atrocities, shaping perception of the conflict as a brutal and untraceable struggle. The coverage has influenced how both domestic and international audience view the conflict and the parties involved. Ambassador Joshua, over the time during our peace clinic, you have actually spoken a lot about the Boko Haram insurgency and also how it started, being someone that was, in that locality or in the state at which the Boko Haram insurgency started from. I would love you to actually share more light on this and how the media actually influenced the perception that is being, propagated about the Boko Haram insurgents.
I know the issue of the Boko Haram activities is just the media did not influence it in a way per se. The only influence we have here is on the perception of the nation as a country and what was happening around at that time. I get a point now. How people view the situation as so terrible, and Nigeria is not a no. Nigeria is a no-go area. Nobody should come, and this is the kind of picture the international community were having. And so Nigeria at that time was a very dangerous zone to come in because of the activities of Boko Haram. As if the whole of Nigeria, the activities of Boko Haram was, involved. So it's as if you cannot come. You should not even step into Nigeria and all of that. It's as if you should not go to Maiduguri, but people were there. Even though the activities were going on, but this thing were hikes. See the kidnapping issues, see the adopting of the school children, where the Obama wife also even came out and was talking about bring back our gays. Do you understand? Because of the media influences, these things sounded abroad as if this is the only time that people have been kidnapped or adopted. Do you understand? So the media hide the situation because of certain interests. Do you understand? And then the image of the country and the government at that time. So it's as if they were targeting the government in power. And it's a very serious, it was a very serious issue. As if they were targeting the government in power at that time and using the media to project the activities of Boko Haram in such a way and a manner that discredits the government that was in power. Do you understand, at that time? So, and that's the angle that the media, you know, was also considered as a tool that influences certain activities that we see even during the 2015 general elections.
Thank you, Ambassador. As we proceed, we'll be looking at the Civil War. The person and the Civil War in South Sudan has highlighted ethnic divisions and political rivalries, framing the conflicts as a struggle for power between different groups. This framing has influenced perception of the conflict and has implications for peacekeeping, for peace building efforts in the region. Because of time, we'll quickly go through. We also have the crisis, the conflict at the Democratic Republic of Congo, and how it was shaped by media coverage that focuses on the country's resource wealth, human rights abuses, and complex network of armed groups. We also have the xenophobic attacks in South Africa. The media coverage of the xenophobic attack in South Africa has highlighted tensions between South Africa and foreign nationals, shaping perception of the conflict as a struggle over resources and identity. This coverage has influenced public discourse and policy response to the issue. So, as Joshua, the xenophobic attack in South Africa at that time when it actually arose, caused a lot of problem, and also it actually shaped the way the perception of people, especially in Africa, where a nation felt like, okay, the other nationals that were staying there were actually, struggling with them with their, just like I said, the struggle over resources and identity, and it became a very, serious issue in Africa. So we would love you to, just shed a little light on the xenophobic attack in South Africa and what way media played a role in influencing its perception.
Yeah, thank you very much. The issue of xenophobia attacks in South Africa was just the nationals felt that the foreigners coming into their country, they are taking over jobs, they are taking over their wives, taking over their, so many other things. So they were not comfortable. And then the media also, the way the media coverage reported some of the issues influences tension in that in the South Africa, and even some of our Nigerian citizens were also in the image they were targets. Okay, some of our Nigerians indigenous that are in South Africa or citizens that are in South Africa were also targets. You know, they were, some of them practically even ran back to Nigeria, because of the fear of the attacks that was going on, and the media were in the forefront reporting some of these issues, carrying out some of these messages, spraying the messages, you know, and then some of these media houses were used to discuss how these foreign nationals are taking over their jobs, taking over their businesses, taking over their chances, and whatever that they felt was not correct. So it was a very serious matter, and the media was also part of those instruments that were used to propagate some of those things.
Thank you, Ambassador Joshua. As we proceed, we will be looking at the ways in which media reporting can contribute to peace building efforts in the region. We have actually seen, the types, the ethics of media, and to the extent at which media influence can shape the perception when it comes to conflict in Africa. So we'll also be looking at how media reporting can actually contribute to peace building efforts in the region of Africa. So the first we have here is promoting dialogue and understanding. The media outlets can provide a platform for different parties involved in a conflict to express their perspectives and engage in dialogue by facilitating conversations and promoting understanding between conflicting groups. The media can help build bridges and foster reconciliation. And I think, for one, that this is an important aspect of peace building, promoting dialogue and understanding. When it comes to conflict, there's actually a need for dialogue. And it's actually interesting to know that media can also serve as a tool when it comes to promoting dialogue and understanding. There is need for conflicting parties to sit together to dialogue so that the conflict at hand or the issues will be resolved. We also have highlighting human stories, where stories of individuals affected by conflict, can be shared. Personal narrative can help break stereotypes and foster a sense of shared humanity, promoting peace and solidarity. We also have the media. Media can also help to challenge stereotyping and biases. We have seen that earlier. Responsible journalism can challenge stereotypes and biases that contribute to conflicts by providing balanced and accurate reporting. By presenting diverse perspectives and challenging dominant narratives, the media can promote a more nuanced understanding of complex issues. So this is also one of the ways media can help to contribute to peace building efforts in Africa. So we also have the issue of raising awareness of peace building efforts. There's a need for awareness, on peace building initiatives and reconciliation process and efforts to be addressed the root cause of conflict. It's actually very important. Media can also help to educate the public, and I think, for one, and that is why we are having the Peace Clinic, to help to educate the public on issues that has to do with what affects us as a society, so that people can be aware, people can understand what is happening and how they can mitigate it from becoming a conflict at the end of the day. Another important aspect is advocating for peaceful solutions. Media outlets can use their platforms to advocate for peaceful solutions to conflict and highlights the importance of diplomacy, negotiation, and non-violent approach to resolving disputes. So it is important for people to understand that conflict is not, when there's an issue, people do not have to engage in violence to resolve that conflict. There's also peaceful solutions. So most times, the media is a medium to advise people to know that when there's a conflict, there are better ways to resolve such conflicts. We also have monitoring and accountability. The media can also serve as a tool for accountability, holding the government accountable for their actions during conflict and shining light on human rights abuses, violation, and also on issues concerning the violations of international law. So the media should understand that it actually has great influence, and that influence can be used positively and can be leveraged upon to ensure that we as a people live peaceably, and that conflict at every point is being managed, is being resolved, and being mitigated at the end of the day. So, Ambassador Joshua, as we come to an end of today's episode, we would love you to share more light on how the media can be used as an instrument to ensure that peace building effort in our society.
All right, thank you, Janet, for uh, running up with the way the media can influence peace building activities in Africa. And the media is a powerful tool that, if used effectively, can promote peace in our society. And the only thing they need to do is just to balance their reporting or their reportage. It's very important that they must balance it. And if you balance it, you give people platforms whereby you bring people, before you bring people to discussion, we must first and foremost try to have an understanding of what they want to come and share. Do you understand? Let's have a overview of what you want to share. so that people will not come and sit in your house, your media houses, and begin to say everything that should come into their mind. You should be conscious about the people you are inviting to come and share more light on certain issues. And then you, before they go into the studio, you must make them to understand the policies, the ethics that govern your operations, so that when they go out there to speak, they will speak things that promote peace. Do you understand? It shouldn't be assumed that you give somebody an opportunity to air something on air, and then they end up insulting people, end up using foul languages to speak hate speech, and also pass information that is not encouraging, pass information that is not building the nation, but rather dividing and destroying the nation. We should not be giving people such opportunities in our media house. And if individual channel that we are using to communicate to the larger audience, some of us have followers on our pages, on our accounts, we should mind the kind of language we use to communicate to our followers. When you want to influence people, you must influence them positively. You must encourage them in your speech and in your utterance to build peace and promote peace at all levels. There's no need to go and share an information that influences division or hate or violence. Do you understand? So these things should be done either at the individual level or at the organizational level. Whether you are invited in a media house to come and give a talk, make sure that your talk promotes peace, promotes build the nation, unite the nation, not the one that will divide the people, not the one that will create tension, not the one that will make people to have second thoughts concerning you and that which you are projecting. So it's very, very important that the media should play the role of promoting dialogue and understanding across all divide. So it doesn't matter who is involved. It doesn't matter whether the person is of consequence or no consequence. It doesn't matter. Give a level playground for everybody to be heard. Okay, the media should give people opportunity to air their view, their intention, their pains, and then also apart from that, but in a language that promotes, in a language that builds. Okay, it shouldn't be in a foul language that divides. Do you understand? That's what I'm saying. In as much as you are paying, if I give an opportunity to share your experience, share it in a language that is encouraging, in a language that is promoting reconciliation, in a language that is promoting forgiveness. Do you understand? So it doesn't matter whether you were affected in whatever way. So this is what I'm talking about here. So, and if you as an educated person want to use the media because you are conversant, maybe you are using the media institution, like social media, to communicate to people, by all means let your message promote peace. Do you understand? And that's what it means. So you are using any media channel, whether traditional or the digital media channels, to communicate to whatever audience you want to communicate to. Let your message build the nation. Let it build the people. Let it unite the people. Let it promote peace. Do you understand? That's what it means. Don't give somebody opportunity to come and use your institution, your media equipment, and promote hate speech or promote hatred or promote division among the ethnic nationalities in the country or anywhere you find yourself. And if you are hosting foreigners in your country, then your relationship with those foreigners should be a cordial relationship. I cannot phantom where you say people come to your country and then they are collecting your wives, collecting your guests, they are collecting your jobs. What does that mean? Do you understand? Where are you that you allow them to be collecting? What are you doing? Do you understand? So you have to also take your place, but not to go and fight somebody, not to go and cause tension, not to go and send people away that they are taking over your gears and your jobs and all of that. Why will you be doing? Why will you saying something like that? So it does not build. As a nation, as a continent, okay, as a nation, as a continent, it's very, very important that we carry everyone along, and it's going to promote and also build us. And the media should not be used for negative influences. It should rather be used for positive influences. and that will help to build our country and our continent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Joshua. In conclusion, the media influence on conflict perception in Africa is profound, with the potential to both positively and negatively impact the cause of conflict by fostering responsible journalism and also promoting accurate and balanced reporting. Media can play a crucial role in conflict resolution and also in peace building. So thank you once again for joining us, Ambassador Joshua, as we come to an end of today's episode.
Thank you, Janet. It's a pleasure. And I must tell you that it was a good time to share with people who are listening to us, who have taken time to join us on this Peace Clinic. And I just want to announce before Janet will maybe throw more light on it, we will be having a free certification training on peace education this evening, and it's going to start today. It's going to start by 6:30 p.m. So if you want to have a certification on peace education, you want to have knowledge on how to promote peace, carry out peace initiatives, join the trainings by 6:30 p.m. And it's going to be live on Facebook, on our YouTube. So do way to join. And it's only those who participate that will get the certificate, because we have, if you must participate, you must indicate to yourself that you want to participate. So we'll send you the link to join the group where you will see the guidelines on how to participate in the training and what is expected of you to do. So, but the training is going to take place this evening, and for the next 5 days, exception of Wednesday, we'll be having the training from Monday, that's today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So it's going to be an interesting time to learn for free. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador Joshua. So as you've heard to our viewers, this is a free 5-day online certification training in peace education. So kindly do well, to join us. Just like he has said, it is commencing today by 6:30 p.m. GMT +1. So wherever you are from any part of the world, do well to join us, and it will be airing on our YouTube page and also on our Facebook page. So if you are yet to follow us on YouTube, kindly do so with the handle Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management. Just search us out on YouTube and do well to subscribe so you can have access to the free 5 days online certification training. Thank you very much for joining us. Once again, the Peace Clinic is brought to you by the Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management. To know more about us, you can visit our website on www.igpcm.com.ng. You can also do well to reach out to us via email at igpcminfo@gmail.com, or you can call us on +234 0 or +234 8141 The details are running on the screen at the moment. You can also do well to follow us on all our social media handles. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and we are on LinkedIn as Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management. You can also find us on Instagram, on Twitter, and on TikTok as IGPCM. So once again, thank you for joining us. We hope you got value from today's Peace Clinic, and we are hoping to see you tomorrow, same time, 4 p.m. GMT +1. So thank you and see you next time. Thank you, Ambassador Joshua, for joining us.
Thank you, Janet. It was a pleasure.